Right, YouTube, Shadow King Nazru, and I'm here to do my review of Season 3 of Welcome to Demon School Iruma. I've done the previous two seasons, so let's get to it, shall we? So, the third season picks off where the second season ended, with the Misfit class, Iruma's class consisting of uh, demons like Alice Asmodeus, Clara Valak, uh, Crowley Grisel, Kamui, Aliker, Elizabetta X, uh, and many others, uh, all being notified by their homeroom teacher, Caligo, that as that before the year is up, they have to reach the rank of Dalit, or rank 4 in the demon hierarchy. Otherwise, they won't be able to stay in the Royal One, which is their new homeroom, and was also the homeroom of the Demon King. And the only one who's at that rank is Alice Asmodeus, because he's exceptionally talented. And everyone else is uh, either rank 1, which is, I already forgot the name was, uh, rank 2, which I believe was Bet, and rank 3, which is Gemmel. And I believe Iruma started off at Bet with at the beginning of the season, which means he had to rise up 2 ranks. And the joke is that while Iruma was human, he did so exceptionally well on the he did it, and despite during the ranking system in the original in the first season, because he found this ancient beast to come here, despite coming in last place with Saberdok, because he did an impressive feat of taming taming one of these demonic beasts and getting the ring of gluttony. They weren't able to calculate his rank properly, so they just started off at the lowest ranking. Which, since Alice Asmodeus is basically a Irma fanboy, upsets him. But this is basically their chance to course correct. And naturally, everybody's panicking because it's pretty hard to get to Dalit, and it's also made worse by the fact that uh, being ranked Dalit rank 4 is the minimum requirement to graduate. So they have to get a rank that's expected. There's no expected for other demons to take like 4 years to do, and they have to do it like within like a month or so. So what they're basically doing now is going to participate in the Harvest Festival, and depending on how well they perform, they will rank up. And if they perform well enough, some of them might even rank up 2 levels instead of just 1. And to help with that, Caligo, despite not liking the Misfit class and hoping that they fail, is willing to give them a fair chance because he actually takes his job seriously. Hired them some tutors, which such cases being Rame, the succubus, who Elizabetta, Caroli Crissell, and Clara. Uh, they were part of her battler, except for like Clara because she had no she was she had about as much seductive appeal as a toddler because she's too innocent and too childlike. So she's going to be training under her. So yeah, that's what's going along with Elizabetta. There was also uh, Jazz and Alker, the demon that kind of has a lion head. They were going to be working under this other demon that looks like your typical demon, except he's like this laid back party guy, and what he's basically gonna train them to be clever and deceptive and manipulative, and he basically does this by making them think that they're gonna enjoy an adult party at like this casino slash strip club, and they're having the fun of their lives. But he has them take up his tab, which he already has a huge debt, and basically he says, "I'll give you these kids who have a lot of potential. One of them's even good at math and is very smart. You settle my debt and make them pay the rest, and we'll be square." And when they agree to that deal, and to the student's expense, and they had to continue working there until until they could beat the demon guy in a guessing game. But the trick is that the demon guy is cheating. Obviously, that's what's a demon, and that's the whole point. He's trying to teach them how to deceive and try to figure it out. And they try to study on picking up these sort of skills from the other people, learn how to disguise themselves, learn picking up certain signs of what the certain behaviors of the customers, and that's what it. There's Crowley Cressel and Kamui, the owl-looking demon, who's also a lecher, uh, who who take tutoring uh, under a demon that acts like a gentleman, and he pretty much uh, teaches is going to teach them how to act like summoners. And then the funny bit about that is that while Kamui has the natural talent to talk to animals because of his bloodline ability, Chloe Cressel is not very apt at it first because she's really girly. She doesn't want to be around all these dirty animals, these dirty, smelly animals, and she's not allowed, and it's really traumatizing for her. But what she learns to do is to rely on her feminine elegance and beauty to to charm the animals into obeying her. And they literally treat her like a queen. So she basically used the experiences that she used as a idol, where before it was using her cuteness. I hate using that word. Uh, to get her fans to adore her, but because she has glasses that repress that, she has to use like a more regal, elegant version of that, and it actually works on these animals. And the and Kamui can't do the summoner arts as effective as Rolly can because of her elegance, but because he can communicate with him, he's found a roundabout way of doing this. Let's see. There's also I forgot what their names was, but this one demon kid who can manipulate wind into like blades, and one who can turn any form of environment into his bed, which sounds weird, but when you see it in practice, it's actually pretty OP. Uh, this they're being taught by this mermaid looking demon that's like part demon, humanoid looking demon, part mermaid, and part I think bird. I'm not sure which kind of bird. Maybe like a duck or pelican. I don't know. But she's but her gimmick is that she's basically this giant crybaby, and but they shouldn't underestimate her because she has a very powerful bloodline ability where she's able to manipulate water, and she's basically forcing them to uh, sorry, forcing them to escape a water cage with their bloodline abilities. And they had a long time struggling with this, but the key was to actually learn how to use their bloodline abilities more in a more subtle and clever way to escape. And so it was basically just them trying to think out of the box. Then we had Alice Asmodeus and Cybernock train under uh, train under Balam, the demon who befriended Iruma and also is one of the few demons that knows that Iruma is human. So he's basically teaching them how to be more effective in combat, use their magic more effectively, and he's basically their training says consists of trying to hit him once, and they struggle with that, especially with the fact because Sarbanach and Alice Asmodeus really don't like each other. Alice thinks that Cybernock is a musclehead. It also doesn't help that Cybernock wants to be the Demon King, which he feels that only Iruma should be the Demon King. And Cybernock, while he likes Iruma and considers and has this sort of friendly rivalry with Iruma, he doesn't like Alice Asmodeus because he felt that he had potential to be another rival, but because he submitted to Iruma as his vassal, he doesn't really respect Asmodeus anymore. I mean, not as much as he used to, but since he is committed to being his right hand and his heart and his halberd, he's willing to show a little bit of respect. And but like I said, they were struggling to hit Balam, but but then they said, "Hey, maybe we should try to work together and coordinate our attacks." And they actually finally managed to land a hit, which was the technicality. So then they could move on to the next phase of their training, which involved uh, being able to unlock their evil cycle at will. Now, if you don't know what the evil cycle is that when a demon gets very stressed out, they start going back into their baser nature and act like how a traditional demon would in fiction, and they're more malevolent and hostile. But it also increases their power. So the trick is to basically take these pills that will force them into their evil cycle, but they would also have a trigger word that would snap them back into normal and make them more docile. And we don't know what Cybernox is, but it probably has something to do with the Demon King. But uh, I'll go into what Alice's trigger word is. But if you've been paying attention, you pretty much have figured it out. Then that leads just lead and Irma. Um, and Lee and Irma were literally taught by that. What was his name? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm forgetting names. I'm terrible with names. But also, there's a whole bunch of characters. Um, but but Irma and Lead are being taught by this one demon who came in season two, No, not season two. He was in the end. He was like in the second half of season one, and he's very nice and overly friendly, and he really gets on Caligo's nerves because he's like too, and he's too clingy. Too He doesn't give people their space. So his strategy was to basically teach the boys to enhance their willpower and concentration, but it's so goofy and absurd that they just didn't want to do it. So, but eventually, another mentor comes in, and this one was brought in by I believe she was brought by Grandpa Sullivan, and she is the brother of that demon, and her name is Botchko. And unlike him, she has a gruff personality. She's not above insulting them, and she makes them do demeaning tasks like serving her while dressed as either butlers or even have them cross dressing as maids and having her helping her shop. And then Lee says he finds this too embarrassing, so he's going to go back to her brother and try to try his program again, which just leads them constantly playing video games all day and all night for like I think like 4 days, and it becomes really stressful for him. But he learns how to his concentration does build up, and he learns how to exploit the teacher's weakness, which was to basically get him to be complacent. And then when his guard is down, he takes advantage of that weakness and gets a victory. Uh, but Bachiko, she was basically having it like a servant and said, "Oh wow, you're still here? You're still doing all this, Irma? I think you're an idiot." But Irma just doesn't want to be deterred. He wants to prove that he can be a good people. And Sullivan comes in to check up on Bachiko to say, "Oh, how's his tutoring going?" And Bachiko kind of forgot, "Oh, snap, I'm supposed to be mentoring this kid on to do a Pastor Harvest Festival. I just happened to having him act like a servant." So Bachiko, last minute, tries to teach him a skill to pass the test. And that's basically to utilize her bloodline skill, which is to take any object and make a powerful arrow out of it. And they go into Irma's own club of, and they try to find an item which would resonate with Irma, and they tried it with a feather, and they said, okay, now you just need to harness your magic and concentrate on what you want this bow to be, how's it going to serve your will. And Irma starts coming up with all these fancy bows, but Bashiko just rejects them because this doesn't have your intent behind it, doesn't have what you desire most. And Irma struggles with this because he doesn't really have he's not really ambitious. He's just mild mannered. He wants to just spend his time at school with his friends. And then he realized that, yeah, I want to protect my friends. I want to spend all my remaining days here in the demon world with my friends and live a good life. And that ultimately creates the bow that uh, that Aaron was looking for. And this really hits hard with Bachiko because before she tried to train other demons, but they lacked the resolve to complete that training, and that kind of made her jaded uh, and rather cynical. And she feels like, oh, it doesn't matter if I train these kids. Eventually, they're just gonna give up. But because Irma stuck around and actually completed the task, her hope is reinvigorated. And basically, Bashko starts uh, training Irma in how to be an archer, and she shows off her bloodline ability, which is to always hit their target with their special bows, which her brother can do, but to a very less effective way. I mean, he can only use this ability once, while she can do it more times and with more arrows. But I feel like there's like a trade off, but I forgot what it was. And the Harvest Festival comes out, and all these demons who are trying to get promoted are getting into it. And the thing is that they have to collect uh, 50,000 points from this Harvest Festival in order to win it. Though, if you get like a certain level of points, you can get promoted, but you won't be the winner. And if you have like a very few points, then you'll just remain the same as you are. And we just had some random demons. We have these two other demons called the Doro Doro brothers. One's like it's like this. How's the best way to describe? He's very loud, energetic, really willing to go into the situation and looking for a fight. And pretty much give it everything he has. While his brother is more the reserved, collected, and more cunning individual. Uh, and then we have this other demon called Orbus. He looks like this typical model honor student. He's like the top half of his man, and the other, and this lower half is like a goat. And he really has it in for the misfit class because he feels like they're just a bunch of rowdy students who cause trouble, but also because Iruma, he really hates Iruma because he's getting a lot of and does really well at the school, and it's also a double edge because a lot of people think that he's part of this cult called the uh, the Faith of Two, where they are worship the concept of the number two, and everything they do they have to be in second place. They even if they could achieve first place, they won't even try. They're just that much in love with number two. But the thing is that he's not part of that cult, and all the times he's been getting number two was just all pure coincidence. It's just all been one big misunderstanding, and he's so sick of it that he wants to get out of there and be number one so he can put an end to all these rumors. And then we got the Misfit class who, they look like battle hardened students who are ready for this. And the teachers basically explain what the rules are. You have to survive 4 days with within the forest with wild animals and dangerous plants and whatnot. They even have they even tried to have a 666 joke in there because they really love that demon stuff, which equated to 4 days. Then they basically say that you can do whatever you want to get those points, even steal from other students, but you can't uh, hurt each other. That's a big, but anything else is fair game. And they all started going in there with their own strategies. Uh, Jazz and Alcur is basically to pretend like they're is to work with certain. Sorry, my throat. Jazz and Alicair's plan is to one is to have one of them work with other students and groups to collect points, and the other one is to pretend to be one of the staff faculty members who collects the points and brings them in for registration. Uh, but they're actually doing is just performing a con to collect points for themselves. Like I said, Karori and Kamui are basically getting all the animals to follow for them and do their bidding and collect points. Uh, uh, Jazz and Sabernac are basically just fighting powerful monsters, and the idea is to basically take down boss monsters and gain the 50,000 points. That way, since they're tougher, they're worth more points. Which which that plan gets him into a confrontation with the Doro brothers. Because the Doro brothers think that um, they explain that their teacher, I mean their mentor, uh, was really helped them with their lives because before they had this their bloodline ability was making people aggressive, which made them and angry, which made all the demons hate them and made them hate themselves. But um, their mentor said, "Hey, don't think negatively of your ability. It's pretty useful because in combat you could use that to disrupt morale and get your enemies to be unfocused. Because this really has a lot of battle applications, and they really looked up to their mentor. Um, However, their mentor went off to Babylus to be a teacher, and the Doro brothers think that Alice and Cybernog took to their mentor, but it's a case of mistaken identity. It wasn't Balam. Balam wasn't their mentor. It was the guy who was teaching Jazz and Alec, the demon who was a con artist. Uh, so because of that misunderstanding, they make a wager that whoever gets the most points, they uh, if Jazz and if Alice and Cyberduck win, they'll get all the Doro brothers points, and that'll help with them achieving the winning the not only win the festival but also achieving the rank of the young king, which you need like 50,000 or more points to get that. while while if the Doro brothers win, they don't want the points. They don't care about this festival. They just want their mentor back. And yeah, they said, well, fine, whatever. I mean, well, at first they reject the deal because there's no interest in them, but then they just kind of go along. But the Dora brothers keep pestering about it and just go along with it. And it also doesn't help that they kind of low key throw backhanded compliments towards their mentor because they have the wrong understanding. They think that they're insulting the Dora brothers mentors, which causes them to be antagonists and try to sabotage Alice and Sabrina and while they're fighting the bosses. But eventually, the situation gets so tough that Alice has to start using his evil cycle, um, which makes him more powerful, but makes it put him out of control. And he almost ends up killing the Doro brothers, but Cyberdog is able to just snap him out of it by basically using the trigger word, which I'm sure a lot of you all guessed it was Iruma. and and that pretty much spares them. And they say they have a better understanding of each other. and they say thanks, and eventually they do learn that Alice and Cybernauts' mentor wasn't uh, the guy they were looking for. Now, going to the wind and bed demon kids. Their plan was basically creating a fortress and harvesting all the remains of the game. But because there were so many uh, lower demons who were struggling with this festival, they tried to ally themselves with these two, despite the bed demons protesting against it because he doesn't really want to. He just wants. He's so lazy that he just wants to do the bare minimum. Um, he just wants to do the bare minimum for this festival and then graduate and just spend the rest of his time sleeping. While the Wind Demon is actually ecstatic about it because he really wants to make friends and have fellowship, uh, which is the opposite of the other guy because he doesn't really want to interact with people. So he's just so his the joke is that the one wants what the other one doesn't want, and the Wind Demon just keeps adding more people in, and it's all inviting, and they basically become like this like Japanese clan sort of thing. Uh, and there's even kind of like a joke uh where all the girls were starting to fall for the two, and it's almost comes somewhat like a second case of this series having a harem. But really, we all know that the only one who's really having a harem is Iruma, which which is a nice transition to what we're talking about. With Lead and Iruma, uh, Lead is kind of trying to take things slow and trying to uh, gather ingredients the slow but safe way. While Iruma is just like in full survivor mode because the way he grew up in the human world, because he had terrible parents that had him live in these harsh conditions, he had to learn to survive, including in the wilds. So he has some expertise in doing these skills, and they have a decent start at first, but they get tricked by Elizabetta and Clara, who Elizabetta basically uses her seduction skills to get get Lee to give her points, while Clara basically learned the ability to basically use her bloodline ability to create a pocket dimension where it's basically one giant playroom, and both Irma and Clara are in these kiddie forms and just playing around. What's actually going on is that they're that as they keep doing this, it keeps draining their their magic, or at least not Clara's, but anyone who's not Clara, it's going to be draining their magic the longer they stay in there. But because Irma doesn't rely too much on magic because he's human, and he's so energetic already, he's basically more hyper than Clara is, but just barely. And no, this was all Clara's part of second plan to get Irma to fall, as she put it, head over heels for him because she kind of does have a slight crush on him. But it kind of backfires, and she's the one that ends up falling more in love with him. But they still do end up getting points, which leads to Irma and Lead having 0 points, and they're desperate because they're already a day has passed, and they have no points, and they have to collect a minimum of 50,000 points if they want to win this whole festival. And we're already starting to see that it's starting to get tough with a lot of students. A lot of them even have to forfeit and have to be protected by Armory and the student council or the other teachers like Caligo or Balum. And we even get to see Armory being worried about Iruma because they haven't spent some time reading human mangas. So it's kind of nice that we're getting development on that. But what Lead and Irma's plan now is to basically their only hope of winning this festival is to find the Legend Leaf, which is worth 100,000 points. So it's basically the automatic win condition. It's basically their Exodia, but nobody's ever found the Legend Leaf, and they basically have to figure out how to do it. And the first step is to go to Korori, Cressel, and Kamui because they have the whole bunch of animals, and the animals would what know about the Legend Leaf and what to do. And they ask for it, hey, can you help us out? And Crowley says, fine, but I want you to perform an idol show, basically get Irma back in drag and have Lead in it too. And Lead's embarrassed while Irma is just kind of going with the flow, even though he doesn't want to do this. But he's so accustomed to doing this now. It's pretty much well, let's get this over with. And they actually perform it and dance, and and it actually entertains it. And the other reason why Pirelli did this was because the training of being around animals was so stressful that she nearly went into her evil cycle. But this whole thing alleviated that, which is kind of a shame because a lot of fans wanted to know what would it like for Korori Cressel to be in to be in her evil cycle, to be in her natural demon state. Maybe she act a bit more cold and reserved. Maybe like kind of like a Yuki Onna, like a snow woman. You know what I'm talking about if you read Japanese mythology. And she'll be act more cold. Maybe she'd be willing to be more willing to kill people if they rub her the wrong way. And it would have been pretty interesting to see that. So I'm hoping the manga actually tackles that subject later on because that's kind of a missed opportunity. But basically, the animals give the answer in this kind of riddle, and they have to basically follow the steps and figure out how to create the Legend Leaf because that's part of the reason why it hasn't been found. It has to be created, and they all went to the step. And Irma and Lee decided that they had to take this in task because the Irma was going to go fight the Seed of Beginnings, while Lead was going to find the pot. And Lead eventually finds the pot, but he's again confronted by Elisabetta, who wants the pot and tries to seduce him, but he has his guard up. But Elizabeth starts calling him a pervert, which demoralizes him, and she takes the pot away from him. But it actually turns out that it wasn't actually Elizabetta. It was Oribus who was trying to take down the Misfit Club while also, the Misfit class, and also trying to win the festival. And his bloodline ability is to create illusions that cause trauma for his enemies and cause psychological damage. And he eventually he finds Iruma, and he's confronted with these illusions, which involves his his friends finding out that he's not a demon but a human. He and they all reject him. Even Omri rejects him, which this is actually which is the clear sign that this is an illusion because if you've been paying attention to the series, Omri already knows that Iruma is a human, even though he doesn't know that she knows. Uh, but she's kind of accepting because because he's able to read the manga, and he's actually a pretty good. He's pretty nice, and he's a really ambitious student. That pretty much caused Omri, and plus he's helped her out a bit, which caused Omri to fall in love with him, and she's and also have her compete with a lot of girls for his affection. But I digress. Um, but he's also confronted by Calico, who says that a human shouldn't be interacting with demons, so he's gonna. But I'm not gonna eat you. I'm gonna just take you back to the human world, which is actually a worse fate because I mean, also his grandpa Sullivan is also there, and he says that I'm gonna sell you back to your. I'm gonna return you back to your parents, who we've already established that they were awful people, and they were not only stupid, but they also took advantage of Irma and treated him poorly. So he doesn't want to go back to that. And Irma has trouble going through that, but thanks to Aliker, I mean not Aliker, Relica, or the spirit that lives in the Ring of Gluttony. I forgot what his name. I forgot what his name was, Ricola, or I don't know. He, along with this other little demon that he encountered, he's able to get over this trauma, and he's finds the resolve to continue the Harvest Festival. And he pretty much accepts that he is human, but he's just going to do his best to live in the demon world. And he also says that there might be a time where I may have to tell my friends the truth that I'm actually am human and hope for the best. And but he does get the seed of beginnings, which he did by retelling the that manga that Omri loves to this giant sphinx. Uh, uh, but like I said, Orbo's kind of used his illusion to steal that away from him. So now Irma and Lead had to get that away from him. So they had to get help from their other friends. Because they get help from like Jazz and Aliker because Jazz was caught by Orobos and he got tricked by uh, creating an illusion of Jazz's older brother who's kind of a jerk, and he punched Orobos, uh, which was a violation against rules, so he was disqualified. But they actually worked for their favor because now he was able to get information from the outside of the festival, and while Aliker wasn't disqualified, so he's supposed to be the end man. And then while this is going on, Camry and Corelli Cressel have formed an alliance with Elizabetta uh, to take the fortress that was created by the wind and the wind demon and the bed demon. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but this was like a really long arc, which like the previous two seasons they would cover like one. I mean, they would cover like 2 to 3 arcs per season. Well, this was just like one really long season and one really long arc. So I imagine the writer of the manga is starting to make these longer form stories that's going to have more impact and more development. But yeah, it's basically Kurori forming an alliance with Elizabetta and Clara. That they would help. Clara would I mean Kurori would use her animals alongside Kamui, and Elizabetta would use her seduction skills, along with Clara using her magic taking skills. And Elizabeth Beta is going fine with it because she not only wants points, but she's also looking for her potential love interest. But the thing is that because she's such a lustful demon and so pretty, and she's been so obsessed with finding a true love, is that she basically considers any man a potential love interest. So she's indirectly creating a reverse harem. And that's part of the reason why I kind of demoralized Lee because he thought that Elizabeth actually genuinely loved him and only him, but that turned out to not be the case. She only loves him. She Elizabeth only loves him as a potential love candidate, but she loves other people too, like Iruma and her other classmates. But so they start to have a war between these two factions, but it's not going in the way of Kuroi's favor. But because Clara was caught by Orobus and is in danger, they form an alliance with Irma to rescue them. And also, Kurori Cassell wants feels that because I helped you, you're gonna owe me in the future. And Alikir informs Alice Asmodeus about the situation and that Irma is going to be because he doesn't like Clara. I mean, he can't stand her, but because he worships Irma, he is willing to rush there in the rescue because he knows that Irma is going to save Clara. And Irma manages to save Clara, who was going through this illusion of Irma acting like Clara's previous quote unquote friends who weren't actually friends but were just taking advantage of her because she had the ability to give them snacks or whatever they want. Clara, despite being the comic relief character, really has some underrated abilities. And this is really emotional for Clara because it feels like because Irma was the first genuine friend she's ever made, and now he's acting like people that took advantage of her. But Irma is able to use the arrow power that he learned from Bachiko to dispel the illusion, and we get this emotional moment between her and Irma. It was a really nice touch. And then Ouroboros was about to confront Irma and Clara, but they get saved by Alice, who not only hits Ouroboros, but was willing to put the fear of the devil in himself. I was going to say the fear of God, but considering this is demons, I just feel it was better to say fear of the devil, just to not sound blasphemous. Like saying, "Oh, if you ever touch, I don't care. I don't care if I'm disqualified. If you ever touch my friends again, or and try to harm them in any way, I am not going to hesitate to kill you." And yeah, and Oropos just backs off. Uh, and everybody's Irma and Claire are upset that Alex got disqualified, but Alex says it's fine. It doesn't matter because I'm already a Dalit rank, so I already was qualified to stay in the Royal One, and so they actually alleviates their fears. And Ouroboros gets taken away by his henchmen, or said, "Hey, don't worry about it. we got the uh, we got the pot that goes to the legend leaf. So without that, the Irma and Lead can't get enough points to win the Harvest Festival. They might not even get enough points to move up a rank. And he said, "Hey, you," and just to help you out, uh, just to further ensure your victory, I'm going to give you all these rare ingredients that I found, and that'll definitely secure your win. And Orvos is touched by this for a moment, but there's a few twists. The first twist is that they didn't actually send that pot to the register. It was Aliker disguised as one of the registration staff, and he brought it back to Irma so they could create the legend leaf. And it turns out the second. I'll talk about the second twist later. Uh, but Irma and Lead try to create the legend leaf, but they're having struggle figuring out. They figure that it needs. They try to do certain things like giving it water, giving it magic. They feel like that they need to give it magic, and they remember their demon herbonics class. I mean herbology class, where you got to put in some of your demonic magic into making these flowers grow. But the problem is that because is that Lead is too doesn't have enough magic because he's like he's not that much of a powerful demon. Whereas Irma, while he has his grandfather's magic, who was a rank 9 demon, is and is a candidate for the Demon King. Uh, most of his magic got drained by Clara. So the plan is just to have Clara give back that magic to him. So they eventually make the Legend League grow, and then they present. But then the Legend League actually blossoms, and it looks like these typical. It looks like one of those cheap store toys, that little thing that it's like round and it's bops like one set. You know what I'm talking about. It kind of looks like that, and a lot of people thought it was going to look like this uh, beautiful flower that you would see in some kind of epic mythology or some fairy tale, and it's just like this simple thing. It's very this is kind of subversion I would expect from like Dragon Ball, something that Akira Toriyama would do, and I love it for it because Dragon Ball is my favorite series and I love it. But they do present the Legend Leaf to everybody, and the students are kind of underwhelmed because they were expecting it to, well, look how I described it earlier. But the staff explained it, said, yeah, this is the legit Legend Leaf how it was described. And so Irma and Lee pass, and they start to do the rankings. And at first, um, they give both Irma and Lee 50,000 points, but uh, Ouroboros had so many rare ingredients that he ended up with 60,000. Then he ended up with over 50,000 points, and that actually put him on top for the be the young king, and he thinks that's going to win. But they the teachers actually made a mistake. Is that they forgot to factor in that the pot that the Legend Leaf is supposed to come with is actually worth 20,000 points on its own, which means that divided they would get 10,000 points, equaling up to both Irma and Lead getting 60,000 points, which puts them in first and second place. And thus they are considered the two tied young king candidates. And Orbis, who at first wasn't happy by winning because he didn't feel like he earned it, because he made a vow to himself that he wasn't going to use his demon abilities, but he was tricked by his underling into doing it. I'll explain later. But when he realized that he didn't win, but I ended up in third place, he's actually happy because he didn't feel like he earned first place, but now because of that, he also didn't earn second place, which put it into that rumor that he's part of the Faith of the Second or whatever that place is called. And now everybody is finally realized, oh man, we thought you were this weird cult guy that was so obsessed with the number two, but oh no, you're just happy to be really smart, aren't as successful. And Ouroboros, he apologized for the misfit class, and they make amends with each other. And it turns out that the young demon that was traveling with Irma and helped helped them make the legend leave. Yeah, he was actually a part of the newest member of Omri's student council. I mean, not student. Yeah, the student council, security commission people, and the part of, and part of the legend leave the requirements to make the legend leaf was to help him. So if they hadn't done that, if they didn't do everything that Irma and Lead has specifically done, they wouldn't have been able to make the legend leaf. So yeah, it's kind of funny in a way. And so it was basically all this stuff, and we even had this one moment when the legend leaf was first blue, where we got an image of Dicula or Duckley or I forgot the original Demon King, and his image appeared for Irma and for like a few seconds, and he asked, "Are you? So you're the one?" So it's basically setting up that Irma is the going to be the heir to the Demon King throne. And it's already starting like fan theories like maybe Irma is actually a half demon son of Dracula or whatever, like he's like the human reincarnation of him because they look somewhat similar to each other. So yeah, I mean either way is possible at this point because we don't because as far as the anime knows, we don't know much about the original Demon King. So maybe they've updated this situation, but I've only seen like small segments of what the manga's going through. So both, but I'm mostly focused on the anime. But yeah, everybody's happy. Uh, Irma, Irma and Lead get promoted to Dallas, so they've already passed. Uh, uh, Clara gets promoted to Gemmel. Elizabetta, who was rank one, gets promoted to Bet, so which makes her rank two. Cyberdoc, who exhausted himself from doing this whole festival without any sleep. Uh, he got the he got promoted to Gemmel, which is rank three, and pretty much everybody all the Misfit class got promoted, but it's because they still have to get to rank four. They're still in trouble, so they're gonna have to do something else to get to rank four, but before the semester is over. And going back to Ouroboros' underling, yeah, it turns out he is actually working for the villains. You know, like Ball Kirito, I think it was his name. I think his name was Kirito, who was like the original club leader of Iruma's club. But it turns out he was working for Ball and trying to destroy this current demon society because Ball and other demons like him feel like that demons have become too soft and docile, domesticated, and they needed to go back to their baser instincts and be evil. Yeah, he was working for them, and but the teachers were onto this guy, and and one of them gave a warning shot by shooting him right in the abdomen. But he does make it back to Ball, and he makes his report that yeah, I got the bug on Iruma, and it was able to listen in on him. And Kirito was listening on this because he learned that Iruma was traumatized by the whole situation, but he wants to be the one to make Iruma just feel despair. And this is one of this was like a rare moment where Kirito actually looks intimidating. He says, "Hey, Iruma is my arch nemesis. You don't touch him. Got it?" And but they listen to the bug, and during and while listening to it, they learn that Iruma is actually human. And Ball actually had a suspicion that Iruma was human because Sullivan illegally went into the human world. So this is pretty much just confirming what he thought. But Kirito was genuinely surprised to learn that Iruma was human. He just felt like he was this demon who was so optimistic and powerful and gifted. But he realized, oh no, it's even better. He's a human. And because he's human, not only can I make him feel despair, I can actually eat him. Because uh, very few demons even have been to the human world, and some of them don't even. And a lot of the demons don't even think that humans are actually real. They think they're just a myth, even though that they're the Babylon's school anthem involves talking about eating humans. I mean, that's like 80% of their percent of what their anthem is about. A lot of them don't think that humans are real, but so to actually have a human be there once and Kirito wanted to go back to his baser instincts, he's really excited. He's literally salivating, he's drooling at the prospect of eating Iruma after making him feel despondent. So yeah, I'm really impressed that the writer managed to make Kirito, who seems very meek and nerdy, actually makes him seem somewhat intimidating and malicious. So I'm looking forward to this reunion between Iruma and Ball. I mean, not Iruma, Ball, Iruma and Kirito. And I saw parts where Iruma meets the uh, the higher ranking demons. I believe there's the Council of Ten, which like has like not only has a Grandpa Sullivan and along with other few demons, but also like 10 of the most powerful and influential demons in the demon realm, including Alice's mother. And eventually, Irma goes in there because Irma and Lead are candidates for being the young king. They have to talk about the prospects of Irma being the future demon king. So I wonder how Ball is going to take advantage of the knowledge that Irma is human, because he heard from the horse's mouth that Irma is human. So he'll probably have some kind of plan to expose not only Irma but also Sullivan, which is going to undermine this whole society. Everybody's going to turn on Sullivan, and it'll get demons back to acting like actual demons. So all in all, I think I really like the Harvest Festival because it really gave reflection for gave a lot of focus for the misfit classes, other characters, but because mostly we just either focus on Irma, Claire, and Alice because they're the main characters, and and occasionally we get focus on the side characters like Ro and Griselle because she's not only she not only has her own thing going on being a demon idol, like a pop idol in the real world. But there's also the joke that she's also sort of kind of in Iruma's harem, well, unofficial harem, along with Elisabetta, because Clara, Omri, Elisabetta, and Karori all have all are attracted to Iruma, but Karori doesn't want to admit it. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little unfocused, but yeah, the other kids don't really get focused. So now it was a good opportunity with this longer story to give these other characters flesh out, how they interact with each other, other what their motivations are. It was real nice. But I also really feel bad for Aliker and Jazz because their whole deal with the that con artist demon was that if they won the festival and reached Dalit, that they were going to get another chance at beating that con artist demon at his game, so they'd be free of their debt and not have to work at that casino place anymore. Because they didn't, I think they're only like ranked Gimel now. They still have to reach Dalit, so that's going to be part of the next arc. Uh, but we also get some minor stories left with the last few episodes. Uh, one is about Iruma and Omri learning how to bake cookies for their friends and loved ones. But the problem is that they don't know how to cook and they're terrible at it. Uh, I mean, like I said in previous videos, uh, welcome to Demon School. Irmakun feels like a spiritual successor to Rosario Vampire, specifically the manga. And one of the running gags of the manga was that the female lead, Intermoka, while her alternate personality, Outer Mocha, was a good cook, Intermoka, she's so focused on being the best fighter and being good at everything else that she has no cooking skills. She's the worst cook ever. So it's basically like that. And I really, as a fan of Rosario Vampire, that's my second favorite series in terms of anime. Oh, well, not anime, in terms of manga, because the anime is terrible. But I really love the manga. This was a really nice tribute. If it was an intentional tribute, I really appreciate that. If not, then it's a nice reference, a nice parallel, to say the least. Uh, but opera basically teaches. It's just so stunned and traumatized by them being so bad at cooking that he basically helps him cook how to cook these cookies, and they start giving it to everyone. And Amari gives one to Irma, even though she still hasn't confessed that she loves him. But it's no, she's taking baby steps. Oh no, it's a pretty nice side story, and we needed a break from the action. I mean, from this long story and all the action and all the drama, and then we the final episode is tying up loose ends, like Sullivan thanking Bachiko for thanking Bachiko for mentoring Irma and helping him reach the rank of Talon, so now he can stay in the Royal One. But he also tells Bachiko that Six Finger, which is basically the evil uh, demon hit squad that's working for Ball, are taking out uh, potential demons who could move up in society. uh, and they know that Six Fingers is involved. And Bachiko feels like, oh, so this is a mission to eliminate Six Fingers once and for all. But Sultan says, no, I don't want you to do that. What I want you to do is just continuing mentoring Irma and make sure to protect him. And he also makes the mention that Irma is human, and this caused Pachiko off guard. Uh, and yeah, he says, yeah, me, Opera, and Balam are the only ones that know that Irma's human. So are you cool with this? Because if you're not, then I'm going to have to erase your memory of this whole situation. But Boschko says, reflects, and says she's a pretty good kid, and he's the only student for me. So yeah, I'll protect him. I don't care if he's a human or not. But it also leads to this gag where Sullivan sees that Bachiko was treating Irma like a servant, and he and Opera are not happy about that, so she gets in trouble. And there was also the bit where we learn Bachiko kind of has this antagonistic relationship with one of the Council of Ten. That's another short demon girl who's Bachiko is kind of like it has a Gap Moe feels with. Which the Gap Moe is basically the visual appearance is like subversion. But there's like a character might have a visual appearance, but it's actually has a version to it. In this case, Bachko is actually gruff, has a gruff personality, but she's actually somewhat a high class demon and comes from a somewhat respected family. And once around certain people, she actually acts either rather soft and girly, like people like Sullivan. But with this one girl who's has very proper high class clothing, but she's also very hostile, and Bachka kind of treats her, says she's kind of like a peasant or some kind of low class demon or something like that along those lines. So I guess it's going with that, and they have this kind of antagonistic rivalry. So that was a nice funny bit. But the final story is basically Irma and Clara going going to Alice Asmodeus' house and sleeping over there, and we get funny bits like Clara being hyperactive and exploring Alice's house and potentially causing havoc, but Alice is completely fine with it because both he and Irma are ranked Dalit, which and the icing on the cake is that uh, Clara is only a Gimel, so they're above Clara. So yeah, I'm clearly Irma's best friend. It's because I'm on equal footing while you're beneath us. And because Alice's Asmodeus comes from a high-ranking family, while Clara is basically a peasant, because the demon realm does have a class system. That's why rankings are so important. There is a class system. Clara is traumatized by the fact that she's basically a lower life form compared to these two, and she even has this one. There was even this one joke where Claire was wanted to grab Irma's badge and mark it down that Irma's a Gimel, to put them on equal footing, but Alice wasn't going to have any of that. And while they're just playing around, Irma goes off to himself. He says he reflects on that a traumatic illusion where everybody found out he was human and rejected him. And he says, "I wonder if I should tell him the truth now, but I'm worried that they might reject me, or worse, they might try to eat me. But he's caught by Al- Alice's mother. I think her name was Alice Asmodeus. I think that's her name. So she basically, uh, her women's intuition made her sense that Alice had invited friends over to their house. So she wants to basically act like the typical embarrassing mother. Uh, and she calls Irma, and Irma tries to confide with Alice's mother, saying that I have a secret I'm keeping from my friends, and I feel like if I tell them, they might not like me anymore. And Alice's mother says, "Hey, it doesn't matter if you have a secret. Friendships don't. You don't have to be tell them everything about you. About you. It's okay if you have some secrets," which is kind of a bad. It's just kind of a bad advice to give when keeping secret from your friends. But then you got to remember these are demons, so their morals are pretty messed up from it. But it's presented like it's actually good advice. So Irma just basically tells Alice and Clara that he really appreciates their friendship, and he was says to himself that one day when I feel like our friendship is stronger, I'll tell you guys that I'm actually human, and I'm hoping we can still remain friends and spend the rest of our days in the Demon Realm. And that's basically where it ends. All in all, I really enjoyed season three. It would have been nice if we gotten more story content so I could talk about more, but but this season focused more on a long quality story rather than a whole quantity of short stories. While because like I said, the first two seasons had a whole bunch of short stories that looked like slice life, but also had some character development ones. And then the second half had a longer story that had more significance and stakes and action. Whereas this case, it's the other way around. We had a long story, took like 85% of the season, and the short stories which only took like the final two episodes. And I feel like that's going to be the thing going forward as we're getting more into as the plot is developing, and these stories are going to get longer and more focused on those things. We're not going to get that much of the short slice of life stuff. But I think it's welcome change. Maybe it's going to make this series more popular with anime fans. 'Cause I really think this. I mean people are aware of it, but I don't think it's not on the same level as like a show like One Piece or Dragon Ball or One Punch Man or whatever. It's not overly popular, but I feel like as things start to progress, I think more people are going to get into it and they're going to check the show out. And I highly recommend this show. So I've been a fan of it since season one. You guys tell me what you think of the season. Did this get you excited? Are you willing to give Welcome to Demon School Irma Kun a chance? Let me in the comment section down below. I'll catch you modals later. Excuse me? I'm off to go figure out a way how to take down Weiss in Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate and finally get all the trophies. So look out for that video. Catch you modals later.